Once again, welcome back to the program. As you know that we have started a new series in which we are having the best students of Surrey, and from different schools they are coming over here and talking to us as to what is in them that makes them different from other students. Today we have a very honored student whose name is Shervin Yousef Zadeh, who is from Fraser Heights Secondary School in Surrey. Let's talk to him as to what he feels needs to be in a student so that they can excel in life. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much for having me.
Welcome. So Yousef, a little bit about yourself, that we know that you have just completed your grade 12 from Fraser Heights. So what was it that made your principal to choose you? What all you have done?
Well, I think it starts with the fact that I was very active from very early on in high school. From the time I walked in grade 8, I tried to find something I was passionate for, and I remained active in it. And the first thing that came my way was debates. And I started in grade 8, and I was able to lead the club by grade 10. From there, it branched off into things like student leadership, Model United Nations, and I started my own environmental initiative called H2Go, which was meant to reduce the use of plastic water bottles. Now, my principal came to the school last year, but from early on, she knew that I stood out, I suppose. That's why I won the award. But yeah, I was just very active, and I did everything I could to make sure that Fraser Heights was recognized.
So what was it that inspired you to do what you were doing, and as you said, from grade 8 onwards? So was it at home you were inspired by your parents, or what you saw in the society? What was it that inspired you?
I come from a very active family in terms of the fact that we're always talking, always conversing, always debating about issues, and that led me on to wanting to talk a lot. And honestly, it came from liking to talk. That led me into public speaking and debate. But yeah, my family, any subject we can have a conversation, an argument or debate, friendly argument for that matter. But yeah, it just led me on to wanting to be more active and getting better at it. And now at least I can have a conversation with my father and I suppose win on my points.
How many brothers and sisters you have?
I have one older sister. She's 11 years older than me.
Okay. Okay, now coming back to the school, and as you said that you have been involved in lots of extracurricular activities. What about academics? What were your score in that?
My academics, I suppose, were really good early on. I had a 4.0 GPA from grade 8 to grade 12.
Right.
And honestly, it came down to the fact that not everything was easy for me, but I would say the courses that I felt were more challenging were the ones that I would put more effort into and I would actually do better in, most notably being math and calculus, that kind of thing. But I was always very passionate for history, social sciences, English, and I tend to excel in those courses more than anything.
What happens is, because the time is limited and there's so much to do at the school level, so how are you able to manage your time as well, devote something to what your passion was, and also the education also did not suffer?
Well, a lot of people tell me that stress isn't a good thing, but in all honesty, it was stress that kept me going through everything. It was the stress that let me do my homework and then remember to prepare a speech for debate, everything like that. But in all honesty, the way I looked at my extracurriculars were that they were all benefiting my academics, and that's something that most students don't necessarily see. For example, when you're doing public speaking, you have to write very concise points. What do you have to do in English? You have to write very concise points in your essays. And as I got better in debate, my scores in English went up, my scores in cognitive thinking went up. So I suppose it was just my perspective on my extracurriculars and how they benefited me as a whole that kept me going through both academics and stuff outside of school.
And did you win something big also at the provincial level or at the state level? Or anything?
Yeah, I was provincial champion in grade 8 and grade 9 in BC for debate. In grade 9, I was also ranked 4th in the country for junior debate. Grade 10 and 11, a little bit tougher because I was acting as a senior debater a year early, but I still made it to the top 8 in nationals both years. My school, for that matter, when I started coaching, we were the only school in Surrey to make it to nationals 4 years in a row. And I hope that next year we continue on that legacy.
Wonderful. When you say coaching, were you giving the points to the youngsters who were younger to you, or what was that coaching kind of?
Well, it started off, well, I'll explain what it was like this year. I led a group of 3 junior coaches, and together we organized learning curriculum for weekly meetings. Essentially what I would do is I would watch the debates, provide judging points, give my experiences, give them a little bit of support, and make sure they were doing all they could at tournaments.
So Shervin, what happens is that in the schools, many times what we hear is that the environment is not very friendly many times, and many students get enticed by things which they should not do. and many times violence or towards drugs or and all those kind of things. So what was it which prompted you to continue with what you are doing? Were you not enticed by these kind of things that which made you, and many a times we hear in the newspapers and we read also that youngsters get, you know, enticed by these kind of things and it really affects them later on.
I'm not going to lie, it came across my mind. I was always enticed by these kinds of things, and I think it would be it would be a little bit shy and naive to say that most students aren't, and that the best students aren't as well.
Right.
In fact, I think with me, the only thing that kept me going was just knowing the path to the future and how these things can come up later on. It's not to say that I didn't do things that were wrong. It's not to say that I didn't make mistakes, but magnitude of your mistakes also matter.
Absolutely.
And small, you know, it's.
So during those times when, as you said, it's really difficult, the peer pressure is there, the environment is such, at that times, how you can keep yourself away from that? What would be your advice to the students?
My advice is just recognizing that the only individual that can guarantee your path to success and your path to a promising future is yourself. And that although you're in charge of the decisions you make, you're also in charge of making bad decisions too.
Right.
It's to find a balance between what you need to do for yourself and what you need to do for your future and for now. So it comes down to self-preservation, in all honesty.
Right. And at that time, how was your school important in your life? What kind of counselors, advice, and especially the home environment, how much difference does that make?
It makes a huge difference, and it's often very sad to see that a lot of students that have great potential in some areas, not only this city, but just the Lower Mainland, because they don't have a great support network, family network, they can't necessarily reach their own potential.
Right.
I'm happy to say I was blessed by having my own support network, not only with my family, with my school and my community as well. And I have to say, I could speak for Fraser Heights, but I can also speak for most schools in Surrey in saying that the teachers in this district, more than any district, really do look out for our well-being. And I had a chance to do a learning symposium just a few weeks ago, and the teachers in this city are just always just trying to stretch for the next big thing.
Willing to help in any
always.
ways they can.
Yes.
And during these time of crisis, your advice would be that come out and talk, not just keep it to yourself.
Exactly. Always talk. And you know, it's great for students to be interactive with the teachers. Teachers are always ready to listen.
Right.
The district is always ready to listen. I was able to voice some of my concerns, and
And towards the end, what are your future plans, and how are you going to complete those things?
Well, I'm headed in September to the University of Western Ontario in London, Ontario, and I'm doing a dual major in social sciences business. My eventual goal is to find a position, a job where I can be involved in business, but also be socially responsible. So not all just for greed, but rather giving back to the community.
That's wonderful. Congratulations and best wishes for your future. And we are sure that with the kind of passion and mission, what you have in mind, you will be successful, not only successful for yourself, but you'll contribute back to the society also. Thank you and
Thank you very
wishes.
much.
Thank you.